Now, the next common thing that you're going to be using variables for is actually binding data directly to a variable's value. Anytime you select any element in Bildr that can be tied directly to data, you're going to have this purple data tab appear in the right-hand side menu. If you select that, there's going to be a record value with an option from a field value or a variable value. Oftentimes, your field value is going to be used if you're tying it to a Bildr data collection. A variable value could be coming from an external source of data. It could be coming from some sort of interaction your user is doing on the page, and you want to bind that variable to a specific element. And so you can create this data relationship between that element with the particular variable value. So in this case, I have my selected menu. To demonstrate this process of setting a variable value, let's go ahead and change one thing about the flows that we already created. So we'll go over to our to-do flow, open to-dos, and I'm going to take out the step where I actually set the element value from the variable. I'm going to go ahead and keep the logic that colors it a specific color. So I'm going to do that from open profile as well. So now we know that these flows will no longer be setting the data directly. On this setting, we know we're going to be setting that element value from a variable value selected menu. Now that we've done that, we need to make sure that we run page binding whenever that variable changes. The things that we bind in this purple data tab to an element, it's the page binding action in the Bildr load flow that actually runs that. So let's go back to these two flows, open profile. And the only thing I want to do is I want to nest our page binding. I'm going to go ahead and put a wait there as well, just to make sure it's completed. Put that right there. And then let's make sure our page binding is empty. And now, just to reiterate, what we've done is in number 3 here, we're setting the variable of selected menu to a specific value. We're performing logic at that moment that will set the color of the menu. And we're still going to have the same result of setting the option here of selected menu to the value of the variable, but it's going to be set in a different way. And one thing that you're going to notice to show this is that on page load, this element is going to actually not appear because there's no value for that variable on the initial page load. So I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to hit refresh to recreate this new experience that we want. So we loaded the page and we never even saw the value here. You can see that the menu is actually still here because you can see this little floating thumb here. We'll ignore that. However, what we're going to see is when I select a different menu, because of the if-then logic, we're setting the color of the background here. And because of the data binding and then running the page binding flow, we're now connecting that variable's value to this element in a different way.